I'm Thillidie, the local tentacle monster, and Eldritch Bing. I'm here because today I'm starting a new series, a multitude of videos, hopefully explaining various things in the SCP universe that may be confusing or not entirely understood for the most part, which is kind of a lot of things in the SCP universe. The purpose of this video is to explain the SCP classifications and how exactly they work, what they mean, and give a few examples to that. This is pretty simple stuff, but I think a good spot to kick this off. Just don't tell anyone I'm out here. So, starting this off, the safe classification. Just diving right in. This is the easiest, or at least in my opinion, to explain. Because anything in this classification means the Foundation knows enough about it to contain it without any problems or anything bad or horrible happening. That, or it just can be completely harmless. Now, that doesn't go hand in hand. Remember, just because it's safe doesn't always mean it's safe to you. We can just contain and understand it really well. A good example of this would be something like a murderous knife. Assuming we know how to contain it to a T, it's safe. But that doesn't mean it won't harm a few people interacted with. And I think that sums up the safe classification. Yes. Now you're getting into my own classification, or as it's known, Euclid. The Euclid class is where things start to get interesting. It's relating to things that aren't the easiest to put in a box and keep it there. We can to some extent, but it's still a good chance it might escape. These ones can be a bit interesting, as once again, just because it might be able to leave doesn't mean it will harm you. Like myself, pretty easy to sneak around and such, but I don't plan on hurting anyone on my way. An example of a Euclid SCP would be something like this. Our example is a potted plant. At random times, this potted plant will begin to grow. When it does, it becomes harder to contain, but not impossible to. This would be Euclid. Not impossible to contain, but could break free if left alone. Header class. This is normally where the big boys play, or so you would think. But remember, the class is related to how hard something is to contain, which just so happens to have a lot of the big boys. If it's got the Keter class on it, it means whatever it is barely understood how to contain it, or we just don't have the ability to. Sometimes those do go hand in hand. These can be very scary and for the most part are. For instance, take this blender. It's an evil blender. Trust me, if we leave it alone, it will escape somehow, either by force or by other means. It's not wise to get close. So now we are getting into the lesser known classes. These ones aren't used as much as others, but still have their place when used correctly. The one we're talking about now is Thaumiel. Thaumiel relates to anomalies that can help contain other anomalies, which sounds weird. But think of it like a box. But the box is super cool and is incredibly hard to break. Made of some type of, let's say, regenerating material. This would be great to keep something we don't know how to contain in. There are many examples of what a Thaumiel could be, but remember this. If it is the container, it's Thaumiel. Hoo boy. Next we have the Apollyon classification. Now, this one is interesting and the most dangerous. If it has the classification, it means it can, has, and will escape, and is expected to. It cannot be contained in any way. These are really scary ones, world enders and the like. I don't have a good example on hand, just, imagine a really big creature just eating the earth like a gumball. That would be Apollyon. Alright, next one up is the Archon class. These are very interesting things, or creatures. I haven't seen many of them myself. If it has the Archon class, it means that we can contain it, but it's better to leave it uncontained. This could be a realm or reality of some kind. Best not to put that in a box. It could also mean that containing whatever has the classification will, or could, have the very negative effects. I don't have a good example for what an Archon class SCP could be, as the reality of the situation is there are not many of them compared to the other classes on the list. And here we are, the last of the classes, the neutralized classification. This one always makes me a little bit melancholy when I think about it. This one refers to an SCP that has been deemed no longer anomalous via being intentionally or unintentionally destroyed or disabled. I don't think I need an example for this one, it's pretty cut and dry, but just to make sure we have a good understanding, let's say an SCP in this example is a computer virus. It eats data before hopping to the next device. If this virus was deleted or destroyed in some way, it would be considered neutralized. Well, that was our dive into the SCP classifications. I hope you enjoyed learning about the classes. If you enjoyed it, make sure to check back for more SCP content in the future. I plan on talking a lot about the subject. Hopefully you'll be there to hear me rant and rave about which one I think could eat the most fruit salad. It's a very integral part of... Anyway, for now I have to go. I have better stuff to do for the moment, and I think I'm starting to hear people get close. Yeah, I gotta go.